Hey everybody, it's been a minute. I'm back. I've been sick. Boo-hoo, right? But you know, old guys get and gals, we get sick a little more than most people. But I feel good. Okay, maybe I'm there, but I'm here kind of feeling okay. Just took a nice little concoction of all kinds of stuff and chased it down with some Jägermeister, better known as NyQuil. And so I'm probably going to kind of dissolve into a Jabba the Hutt kind of host within 2 hours. I'll be like, blah, 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 as all the stuff kicks in. Anyhow, I'm back. And I feel good enough to listen to a bunch of music here. And I have my usual suspects here in the chat. And I have a mess of donos that have shown up. And so my usual thing is, to everybody that knows, I'm going to run through as many donos as possible, hit a little wheel of cheese. And if by the time I get done with it, if I do all the donos, great. If not, the donos will be in pole position for the next time around. So why don't we just get started? And thank you guys for hanging out and everything, too. I appreciate it. It's a Saturday, you know. People doing things on Saturday. You hang out and listen to music with me. All right, guys, let's do this. Guess who's first? Because I'm having to, make up from last week from when I kind of faded on being sick. The first call out here is from our friend, the kebab seller. So the kebab seller is wanting us to check out Kingdom 2 Crones? What is that, guys? Kingdom 2 Crones, the Blue Archer. Is that a game? He says here that it is a $2 game that he loves. So I'm thinking, you guys know what this is? So here we go. Let's do this with the kebab seller. All right. I don't know why this is giving me Outer Wild vibes. Oh, nice. Playfulness of that arpeggiation with the delays is really nice. A couple melodies going on in there. It's almost like they reassigned that MIDI track into another instrument. Minor, major chord pattern. Ooh, I like that. So obviously I don't know the game, and I don't think many people do. Some of you guys just say that you knew what the game was. It's funny because the tracks that I'm writing for this publisher right now have this kind of element in the production approach, and one of the really nice things that you can do when you're writing music like this is the arpeggiation that went through the whole thing. Had a nice little like eighth slap delay on it with a feedback on it, so it kind of tailed off a little bit, and that's nice. That gives you a little bit of that openness. It kind of preps your brain through your ear hole that there's width, to it. But the other instruments that came in, whether it was woodwind-like, flute-like, or cultural wind instrument-like, One thing that's really fun about this kind of a track like this is that if you have one melody that's established, usually when you think of melody, you think of a single voice or a single instrument, right? It's playing the melody. That's a give or take depending on how you look at choirs and everything. You know, that could be a section. But what was nice is that you had one melody that was happening with one instrument and then another melody sneaking in, having its own completely different conversation. You know, and I like that kind of stuff. That kind of makes my head kind of peel apart as a composer. And also the little percussion too was also very, very golf clap. It wasn't really beefy and stuff. It was very golf clap. You know what I mean? Melody. It was a melody. So that was nice though. Nice mellow way to open up the avocado show. The key of Jeeves and the key of D and the key of whatever. Okay, next up, It Snows in Australia. We're doing some classical music. It Snows in Australia has a really great taste with things that are very bouncy and arpeggiated, especially in the classical works as well. That's what, so far, he brings a lot of that into the house. This one is Shostakovich. Forgive me, I could never say his name. My dad used to hit me with the ruler every time I'd say his name wrong. Anyhow, this is Symphony number 8 in C minor. Ooh, I told you he was going to bring stuff. Allegro non troppo. Oh, I know this one. Oh, my goodness. All right, guys, we're doing classical. You guys ready? We're doing classical. Let's go. Very pensive. The sound of the bows off the strings on these. Staccatos. Some of it is spiccato, actually. The way it's bouncing. Starting to speed up a little bit. Kind of a bright mix. What's going on? Oh, that's what it was. It was a horn rip behind the timpani. I was wondering what was so punchy and bright. They're soaking that reverb. You know, a lot of technique going into this. This whole thing has been bouncing since it started. still there. You can hear that the influence that where John Williams pulled from. A couple of those lines in there. God, those musicians have been on fire since it started. There's a piano back there. I could have swore I heard a left hand. And that was it. It must have gone into another. It's going to go right into another part of the suite. You know, one of the things about this particular track, you know, I know this is it was part of a 3 or 4 piece suite. I'm not too sure. I can't remember. But the unique thing about this is that that whole run, 5.5 minutes of this constant ostinato, or the movement of this constant spiccato, staccato. They went a little into the marcato as well, you know, which is a different techniques of you know, there's bouncing the bow when you're going that's more spiccato and stuff, and staccato, and there's different ways to attack those same exact different bowing techniques. But those guys were on fire since the thing started. For me, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm this might be that day where I'm gonna lay out a little bit of thoughts that might not be my typical. The one unique thing about this that I found is for myself, the repetitive nature of a lot of it in these, so you know, the eighths that were just constantly cutting through there. I found them to be like purposefully gnawing. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing was nothing but a tension piece, because there wasn't. I mean, there were little, you know, essence of some melodic works, you know, with that horn, that high horn, that was happening. But a lot of it was just really the blowing up of loudness and stuff like that, using horn rips and stuff like that. But a lot of it was this constant. There was just a straight tension piece. And for me, like I said, it's also one of those things that when I listen to other things that I'm listening to as an old engineer fart, it's just, I just, like I've said before many times, I just love the sound of the bow against the strings. Just something you get, you know, if you know. There's just something about that. And also what's unique about that too is you've got this, sometimes you'll get this human element and tempo between the attacks. of the notes in different sections that might be going down. So a little bit of the tempo might seem like it may drift or somewhat decouple every now and then between sections. Just a little bit of this thing, but that's the human element of it all. Otherwise, it would sound very robotic. But it snows in Australia. Thank you for bringing that in. I was very happy. Excuse me. Okay, next up, for $100,001, Kairu wants us to listen to Land of Morytha from Xenoblade 2. And the message is Twitch points. Oh, that's, yeah, see. This is a spooky one. This is a background music of a dreary, ruined area in the game where there's nothing but zombie-like things walking around. All right, guys. Thanks, Kairu. 100,001. Let's do this. All right. Is there a little delay on that violin? Or is that a pre-delay in the reverb? This definitely has that, the darker Halloween vibe, spookiness to it. I love how the engineer's kind of using a pseudo lo-fi vibe for the piano. Matter of fact, the whole mix has kind of a high shelf filter. Maybe at about 12K. There's this constant 1/5 in the back in that pad that's kind of spooky. Kyrie, you say this is from a dreary part of the game. Is it character walking through burnt, smoky part of the game, or are there bodies laying around? I mean, I don't know the game, but it definitely has that pull. Kind of a post-warfare sadness. Cello section's doing here. There's a little bit of like Mediterranean flair in the melody. This is miserably beautiful. Does that make sense? The composer lets us live in a place that is very insecure, with the kind of meandering piano work like this. What we heard at the tail, we heard in the middle, we heard a little bit at the beginning. But there's this little, I don't know what it was that's holding this pad, but there's this kind of hollow ooh sound of what I would consider like a hollow choir hybrid kind of a thing in the back. It's, I don't know, was it 1-4 or 1-5? Anyhow. The composer allows us to kind of marinate a little bit in the sadness of it by not giving us a lot to think about in some of the sections of the track where the piano's just kind of moving around, very just as if you're like pensively looking under layers of things that could potentially be things you may not want to be seeing, you know, kind of a spooky kind of vibe. That I think, you know, when Aman had mentioned the Schindler's List adjacent, there was a lot, in my mind, there was, came with the dynamics of the violin playing. That definitely leaned into that. But it's this was a track, just like you said, Kyrie, was something that was to be like kind of a point of sad reflection. And I know you said something and you didn't want to give it away, but along the lines of what was once, looking over something that's been blistered by warfare or by something, and having to walk through it and, you know, be saddened by that whole journey. But I think the other thing too, and I just want to finish up on saying again, is I'm just going to reach back into the fact that the whole mix sounded like it was softened up by rolling off the super high end of the mix. Those of you who know, you know what I'm talking about. So it kind of gave it this kind of a numb feeling to it, to the composition. Even with the violin playing, you know, it wasn't so bright, you know, that it kicked off a different kind of energy. It's like listening to something like this under the clouds, under some sonic clouds, because kind of getting it, but feeling a little subdued by the mix. Anyhow, let's go on. Thank you, Kairu. Appreciate that. I'm glad you brought that into the house. S. Dixon, is you here? I have for you your track. Sorry, I'm getting interrupted here by a text. It's a family thing. Okay. Excuse me. So, S. Dixon, how are you? Thank you so much. Very kind donation. I appreciate that. Looks like he wants us to listen to a band called Soul Coughing, like what I just did. A little soul coughing there. And let's see what we got here. Let's see what S. Dixon's bringing into the house here. The name of the track is called St. Louis is Listening. And a little message that he has for me is, love finding the new music? Well, we love finding the new music. They've been touring for the first time in 25 years. So they're back. They're back. All right, S. Dixon, let's do this. See what we got. Wow, that snare. Great voice. It has a little bit of a chorus action on there, but at least that's what it sounds like. You don't use words like that. St. Louis is listening. You don't use words like that. St. Louis. Yeah, that bass is like Michael Anthony straight. Van Halen. Eskimo to meet you at the station. Maybe he'll do it again with that bass line. We'll see. Oh, he's like milk to you, half Swedish and half Asian. Then your aphasia strikes a bargain with the party hardy. I got to box you for the money. Reeling and stumbling, I got to bump around a while. You don't use words like that. St. Louis is listening. You don't use words like that. St. Louis is listening. Let me get up on it. Let me get up on it. Let me. I wonder what kind of bass he's playing, or what he's running it through. Everything about this is abstract. It's a great track. Each one of these sounds are going through a unique chain of effects. It's upright, huh? But I wonder if it's an upright with a direct line out. Like maybe there's a bridge pickup or something. Good engineering to fill that out. God, the kick drum sounds phenomenal. You don't use words like that. St. Louis is listening. It's like the kick drum is like unmuted, unpillowed, unblanketed. Yeah, super sludgy. Stoner or sludgy. That sticks in. So when I first the first measure, actually, the first thing that came to mind was like stoner or sludgy kind of vibe. I don't know why. I think it was because the stoner or the sludge uniqueness of the music that's produced under those genres really lean into a lot of stomp pedal effects, you know, that really create its sound. But it's almost as if there was a technique of that used here, but not as washed out. You know, so you can hear a lot of its nuances. So in other words, when I mean washed out, it's like not one of the things I've heard, at least in my short few listens of stoner or sludge, is that they really rinse really hard those dark, really saturated guitars with a lot of reverb on it, and it gets a little stoner sludgy gaze. Stoner sludge gaze. Maybe that's a new genre I should come up with. Anyhow. Where this one had very clean pockets through it. They lived in their own environment cleanly, and they didn't have any crossover washout references. So I can hear each one of them really uniquely. And of course, the first thing that I heard coming in was that really great sound for the snare. You know, it's like it sounded like it was a deeper snare, maybe a wood snare, and loosened up the little snare metal a little bit to dangle a little more because it was a little more of the ping. Even that with the kick. The kick sounded like the mic was outside, maybe about 6 inches, with no blanket or pillow or anything to kind of deaden the sound. So you're hearing a lot of the ringing and the overtone ringing on the kick and stuff like that. And the guy's voice was great. I really liked his voice. He stayed, he was in the same pocket through and through. And hey, Lost at Zero, how are you? Lost Art Zero, thank you so much. That was nice of you to say. Anyhow, so I listened. As I was listening to the kit and stuff like that, there's energy that has to go into producing like that. Now, what I don't know, Dixon, and maybe you can help me, is that does the whole album sound this way, or if this is a one-off track, you know, in the album project that has these tones, the use of these tones. And what I was saying about the vocalist too is the fact that he did stay in this pocket, you know, so it wasn't about vocals that was like wah! You know, all these big intervals and stuff. He stayed right there in the zip. So, excuse me. Hey, Tambor, how are you? Oh, that's similar veins. Okay. All right. Well, Orenai, you are up now. So, what exactly did you change it already, or do you want me to do it here while I got you? Let me see. Ah, there it is. I do see it. That is the one. Okay, so Orenai's up, and good to see you here. And thank you for your dono. And this is a song from a band called Varien, and the name of the track is Blood Hunter. So let's do this, Orenai. Let's see what you're bringing in the house. Let's go. Tonal sound design with those arpeggiations. Though they lean on more of an percussive sequencing, there's still a tonality to it that's really unique. a little element of that judgment. Is this a game? Because it has that kind of vibe and energy to it. So the bass sequence is in unison with that more of that sound design, big stereo image sound design thing going on. Yeah, right there it's got that kind of India vibe, that Pakistani India. Working with kind of phrased loops, it sounds like. Trippy piece. Orenai, was this part of a game or something? Or is this part of just an instrumental project? Because a lot of it was just the darker, pensive, trudging through it all, darkness kind of vibe. I liked how the composer, like I had said before it ended, how the bass was in unison with that sound design and how that sound design stepped really wide, but it was mostly sound design that it had any kind of tone essence to it. But the bass line was in unison with it, so it gave a very nice V shape to the bottom end sound experience. It was like a blooming bass. You know, and the fact that it was everything was tied together, there wasn't anything really aggressive about the arrangement except for the bass. It was just all the long pads. The vocals, though, like you said, I don't know anything about what the project is, and you're saying that it might be one of the, or you're not too sure what language it is, but if this was done, if this is a band, you're saying this is a band, and this is one of their singles or one of their releases, then that phrasing in the background just sounded really washed in reverb, so it was kind of hard to hear if there was any real language to it except for maybe melodically singing maybe vowels or something. But it was definitely meant to be spooky. If this was just a track to listen to, then it could have really theater in the mind you. You know what I mean? Like it just takes you in any which direction, so you're not married to the song as being it to a game or an anime or a movie or something like that. And it does that. That kind of pulls you into that like dark trance, EDM dark trance kind of vibe, as far as what I know. Something like that. But thank you for coming in, Orenai. It was good to see you here. Okay, next up, the driver. I got to refresh my data. Hang on. So the driver's up next, and see what we got here. We have here a band called Flight Facilities featuring Giselle. The name of the track is Crave. Released almost 15 years ago, this is arguably Flight Facilities' most famous track and propelled them into a level of fame they have today. A light, fun, and bouncy song that also just happens to have featured in one of my favorite racing games, which is Forza Horizon 3. Oh, so it has an association with some video game work. As a matter of fact, I almost bought the Forza Horizon 4. Is that a thing? But I didn't. But let's listen to this though. All right, let's do this.
Why can't you want me like the other boys do? They stare at me while I stare at you. Why can't I keep you safe as my own? One moment I have you, the next you are gone. Rehearse steps on an empty stage. That boy's got my heart in a silver cage. Why can't you want me like the other boys do? They stare at me while I crave you. I walked into the room dripping in gold.
Dripping in
Yeah,
gold.
dripping in gold. I walked into the room dripping in gold. Dripping in gold. A wave of heads did turn, or so I've been told. Oh, so I've been told. My heart broke when I saw you kept your gaze controlled. Oh, I cannot solve. Why can't you want me like the other boys do? They stare at me while I
I love this.
stare
It's a
at
4-chord
you.
pattern that's just, you
Can
know,
I keep you
some light
safe
dusting, some
as
enjoyable
my
arrangements.
one
Melody's very nice.
moment I have you, the next you are gone. Rehearse steps on an empty stage. That boy's got my heart in a silver cage. Why can't you want me like the other boys do? They stare at me while I crave you. It's true,
That's a nice addition. It's so far out there that it adds a whole new element to it. Vibe-wise.
Let's just stop and think before I lose face. Surely I can't
Change of chord pattern. Nice.
into a game of chase. Around his little finger, that boy has got me caught. I try to reach out, but he's in his own world. This boy's got my
Look at
head
Marimba
tied
to
in
Celeste here.
knots
Very
with all
nice.
his games. I simply want him more because he looks the other way. Why can't you want me like the other boys do? They stare at me while I stare at you. Why can't I keep you safe as my own one?
I like that high melody too, countering.
Next you are gone. Rehearse steps on an empty stage. That boy's got my heart in a silver cage. Why can't you want me like the other boys do? They stare at me while I crave you.
Bringing it all in for one rinse cycle right here.
I am craving you.
That was really fun. I like the chord pattern. I like the laid backness of it. Her voice was really sweet. I was trying to kind of align what she kind of reminded me in her performance. But it had that really nice, super mellow. It wasn't quite. It had jazz-esque-ish, you know, kind of vibe with it. The chord changes were really nice. They weren't, well, jazz is a little much, but it had a very fun kind of a pseudo funk fusion-y chord changes that were going there, and the sounds that they used for the percussion. This is one of those things where making it sound like it was. They didn't try to manipulate it to make it sound other than what it really was, like maybe an TR 808 tom-toms doing what was going on there. And I also like that the chord changes they used in that EP sound, electric piano sound, had that tremolo in it, but it wasn't over exaggerated with the stereo imaging. So very nice, very laid back, very sexy, smoky, kind of like, you know, King Henry VIII, Cavassier, or, you know, a little snifter with a cigar chilling out and some smoky bar thing kind of vibe. So it was really nice. Give me 1 second, guys. I got to turn my fan another direction. Give me a second. Oh, I'm moving slow. The NyQuil Jägermeister shot's kicking in. Ah, hey, Patty. Oh, and DJ. Did I say hi to you, DJ? How are you? Okay, so let's continue on. Let's see here. Who did I have next up? I'm sorry. Oh, Great Sage Sun is up next. Well, oh, you didn't catch the first half of that? Oh, don't worry, driver. I got you. It'll go up on the... I'll save it here on Twitch, and I'll save it on the VOD. But it was a really nice track. I really enjoyed it. No planned schedule anymore, Sheeb. I've been trying to do planned schedule, and my life right now has just been all over the map with the outside work and stuff that I have, and just being an old fart and a grandfather and the holidays coming into gear. So I just parachute in when I can. But at least I average at least 2 streams a week. So, okay, next up. Oh, this is going to be nice because I love this composer. Very talented. This is from Great Sage Sun. This song is from Bear McCreary and Rufus Wainwright. And the song is Old Tom Bombadil. And the message from Great Sage Sun is, I don't know how familiar with Tolkien and Middle-earth you are, but I'm going to chance the hope you are with this request. I may have read that wrong. Or that someone in the crowd is. This is a special song to many of us, a character who has far long been vivid among words and minds, now lifted anew into song. Have a merry day, everyone. And that's from Great Sage Sun. All right, let's check this out, guys. Let's go.
Now let the song begin. Let us sing together of sun, stars, moon, and mist, rain and cloudy weather. Light
I don't know why I'm thinking of Bob Denver.
leaf, dew on the feather, wind on the open hill,
Not Bob Denver.
bells on the heather. Oh, slender as a willow wand, oh, clearer than clear water. Oh, read by the living pool.
It's got that folksy thing, though, of a John Denver kind of vibe, yeah?
Oh, springtime and summertime and spring again after. Oh, wind on the waterfall and the leaves' laughter. Oh, Tom Bombadil is a merry fellow. Bright blue his jacket is, and his boots are yellow. Reeds by the shady pool, lilies on the water. Oh, Tom Bombadil and the river daughter. Oh, slender as a willow wand, oh, clearer than clear water. Oh, reed by the living pool.
Very folksy, but with that Bear McCreary rap.
And summertime and spring again after. Oh, wind on
I love the subtle percussion. Which I don't know what they're using. It could be like muted toms or. What a beautiful track. As I recall, this was off of a TV show. So maybe it was somewhere over a particular scene. Very beautiful, very kind of calling out from the soul, the vibe and the energy. The really nice chord changes. It had a little bit of kind of like I want to say, is it Celtic, I'm thinking, kind of vibe to it with the chord changes and the melody. You know, or somewhere adjacent to that, but very, you know, and there wasn't a lot of work rhythmically, except for the percussive thing. Occasionally, you'd hear a little arpeggiation, like at the very end. There was a little something happening there. With it sounded like maybe with some Celeste or some Glockenspiel combo of sorts and stuff like that. But the whole thing was kind of a sway, kind of call to action, call to love, kind of, you know, vibe, but it definitely had more of a, for me, that kind of sprinkle of Celtic arrangements in it. I don't know. That was the pull I got from it. It was a very pretty song, and also, I mean, I'm looking at the artwork. At first, the artwork caught me off guard, but I realized that this was just put up a couple months ago, and so there's probably a lot more to it, but. As far as this project, but it was a beautiful song. I really loved it. I love the subtleness of the string arrangements. There was a lot of whole notes. There wasn't a lot of moving around. There wasn't a lot of overdoing it. You know, there was just everything in the string arrangements was a very subtle answer back to the melody. You know, letting some seconds and fourths kind of ring through and slightly resolve. You know, or that resolution of that configuration would happen vocally. So, very beautiful track. I really liked it. Made me feel good. Made me feel good. Okay, let's see who's up next. Mana. Let me see. Up next is Halafanboy. Are you still here, Halafanboy? Let's see what we got here. Halafanboy wants us to listen to a band called Theophany. Theophany? And the name of the track is Times End 2, Deku Palace, I'm sorry. And the message is, for me, is Theophany, the best, who make the Legend of Zelda covers and remixes. For me, they are much, much more than that. They are new interpretation. They are new interpretations of these musical pieces. All right. So let's go. It almost sounds like the composer's trying to be playful, but there's a little bit of seriousness in there with the sound design. Is this a remix or is it a cover? Remix. Thanks, Shannon. Putting a little bit more of the Japanese influence into here. Some cultural work. It's got this very unique crossover medieval vibe with this Japanese Celtic kind of blend here. Thanks for that explanation, Judgment. So now this is an intense build-up to a countdown time kind of vibe. Seemingly so. Would have liked to have heard a little bit more punch on that brass. I love that little percussive vibe. It kind of makes it sound like it's a clock. Time is ticking, which I think is part of the essence of this track based on what you guys were telling me. It's giving you that vibe like it's an old grandfather clock just ticking away. This piece can cross over into so many different movie scenes, but mostly kind of the Euro 1500s, 15th century, 14th century vibe. That was cool. Messing around with the positioning of that flute work. I love when you can hear the breath. Keeping in a little sound design of the game, I guess, huh? Trippy track, man. Obviously, you guys say this is a remix of existing. So there's a lot of like really super tight let's say 3D of the sound hole. Very unique things happening in the engineering. But the track in of itself really did give me that combo, as I said throughout the track, of a little bit of a... the core influence to me was a little bit more of a Renaissance, Celtic kind of vibe. However, I can hear every now and then some of the Japanese influence. I don't know if the composer is Japanese or anything, but just listening to it culturally, a little bit of cultural Japanese cultural melodic influence in the track, and it sounds like apparently during the game this must be a track where you're accomplishing something. So to me, this gives me the essence of you're building something, or you're accomplishing something, or something's moving forward in a positive way, getting ready for whatever might be coming around the corner. Because it was very much a Build-A-Bear kind of vibe to it. Track. Everything was always on the shoulders of. And it was always on the shoulders of the something of that nature. But that seemed like what the music would be good for, if that would be like, what is this? You're finding out if you have to save the Deku princess or they kill. Oh, okay. Yeah, so it has that vibe. And also I think at the very beginning, too, the way it was said, or somebody may have mentioned it in the stream, too, that this track was about a limited amount of time before a moon or something hits the earth or something of that nature. And so that's what I also enjoyed about what I had said earlier about that percussive element that was kind of sounded like a TikTok, like you're running out of time, but it was, I can't recall. I'm trying to dial in my brain. I'm soupy right now because of the Jägermeister NyQuil shot. So I'm kind of spacing, but I'm trying to think of that percussion that gave it that kind of vibe. And I believe it's more of an Asian percussion instrument. Anyhow. Yeah. Oh, so that was my thoughts. Oh my God, I am so tripping right now. I don't mean tripping like tripping balls, like hallucinating. I'm just so spacey. Okay, next up, DJ Tambor sliding into home base. I noticed you popped in there and you said, how's it? And then, oh, look, you're at the top of the list when I refreshed it. So let's go ahead. How are you, DJ? How you been? What have you been up to? How was your week? Okay, so you just chilling? Good. I'm literally chilling. I don't know why. I got the chills. Ugh, whatever. I'm talking Bobo. All right, DJ, let's go ahead and let's get one of your tracks in now. Thank you very much. That was very kind of you for the dono there. This is let me see here. Let me open this up because I can't focus right now. Okay, here we go. So this is a game for all you gamers out there. Let's see if you remember this game called Tokyo Xanadu. And the name of the track is Hazy Moon. And this is composed by Takahiro Unisuga. This track plays inside of a maze, like a dungeon that takes place inside of a spirit world that the main character gets teleported to and escapes from. Despite being a dungeon theme where you can get chased by a bunch of monsters, the spirits, it is really nice to listen to. Monsters and the spirits, okay. All right. How many of you guys, while I start this, have heard or played or know of Tokyo Xanadu? I don't know. Let's listen to it. Let's get to know the music. I was waiting for that jungle ravey rhythm to come in. I didn't know if they were going to come in with that, but that's great. And I love the tone of it. Beautiful chord progression there. This chord. Or is it? They repeat the phrase. Wow, this is a badass track. You know, there's that mid-level arrangement that has a bass element to it, but it's not quite a bass line. It lays back here. See if you can listen for the bass line. I might come back here. God, it's very light loaded. There's not a real bass bottom to it. Except in the whole notes, maybe left hand vibe. Yeah. This is the kind of track that you don't even need to hear it against the game to just vibe on. There might be like a sub bass in there, like something that's like hitting at about 500 hertz. Nice. Love that. So subtle. I'm into this. That's such a great track. I take it that it fades because it's looping during gameplay until you get to the next level or something. You said that you're like stuck in a dungeon or something in this. But either way you look at it, though, it has such a great vibe to it. It has that vibe where you're like, for me, whether I compare it in my head to any video game I may have played or just in real life, it just reminded me of driving. You know, getting out there and just letting the whole experience go. Now, what it's married to in the video game, obviously, you've already been, you know, married to that with the video game. I guess you said it was like in a dungeon or whatever, but. Or maybe making your way out of it. It was so subtle. It was so beautiful. I forgot who it was that said they really liked the pad of that, of what was happening in the back. It was a really nice, subtle, hollow vocal pad, you know, kind of with an ooh to it. And I thought that was beautiful too. And to me, one of my favorite things, about a year ago, I did I did 10 tracks like this for a library. And the secret was, for me, was that double time that the jungle beat, is it the jungle rave beat? I forget what you call it. You guys keep on schooling on me. That's all the time. I keep on effing up and forget what it's called. But that, you know, if I'm writing it in its cut time, you know, beautiful chord changes and pads. You know, if you took that away and just cut that in half, it's going to change the whole vibe of the track. But it's such a unique experience to have something that just kind of sails and floats like these arrangements and the meandering of the piano and certain other things that were going on in there. But you have that, and that's subtle, but it marries it into a whole different vibe, like a forever vibe, like just gliding into some kind of utopic. Futuristic land of possibilities. Was that right? that I don't know. That kind of made sense. But thanks, DJ. I really enjoyed that. Just really quick before I move on, is the rest of the soundtrack of the same nature in production? Not necessarily all fast and but I mean, very beautifully written like this. It really. It was a really, like I said, it's a badass track. It's something that I'm going to look for on Spotify and put that on my playlist. So, I liked it, man. Made me feel really good. Actually, it was a perfect sonic escort for my buzz right now. So thank you so much. Baha Schmancer. Are you in the house, Senor Baha Schmancer? Oh my goodness. Let's see what Baha Schmancy wants. I get a lot of requests on this from my main channel that I have, or my main RPGs Music Arcade, because I actually did a song from this band and I got it wrong, the name, Portishead. I was saying Portishead. I guess it's called Portishead. I'm not too sure. Still to this moment, it's been a while since I've done it, but beautiful, beautiful work that I've heard. This song is called Roads. And this is, I guess the message is, this is considered trip hop, but listed as just a rock band on Wiki. Okay, well, let's go. Yeah, Baha, this is for you. This is your thingy. Let's do this. Ooh, live. Let's go. Hey, that's one of the original Rhodes. This is 73 he's playing. Hey, he's also got a mini Moog up there. Very nice.
Oh, can't anybody see? We've got a war to fight. We never find our way, regardless of what they say. How can it feel this wrong? From this moment, how can it feel this wrong? Stone in the morning light, I feel no more can say. Frozen to myself, I got nobody on my side. Surely that ain't right.
God, it even works fantastic with this recording.
Can't anybody see? We've got a war to fight. We've never found our way, regardless of what they say. How can it feel this wrong? From this moment, how can it feel this wrong? say, how can it feel this wrong? From this moment, how can it feel this wrong?
What a beautiful song. I got a little lost in it because, you know, I was kind of slightly infatuated with the fact that the track, as it's released here, I don't know what the source generation is of coming from the concert, where it was recorded onto what, if this is coming off of a DVD that somebody may have recorded and then put it up on YouTube. But yeah, somebody had mentioned something about saturation. I think DR did. And yes, the saturation of it. Now, hang on for a second. This is techie stuff. So I'm going to do a little techie. The saturation did increase, obviously, as a little more of the arrangement started to fill in. It almost sounded like they had, like, I don't know, like somewhere in the process, they ran it through, like, stereo compressor and stuff, and through it was like kind of a hard knee, kind of a saturation, so it was like a post thing, perhaps. So that doesn't matter. I think what was beautiful about the track is the fact that that aspect of it, technically, the sonic experience of the mix and everything, along with her performance, was absolutely perfect. So I didn't say much. I was just kind of listening, you know, and I just had to kind of chill for a little bit and just kind of get into it and listen to it. Because her whole tone of the whole performance, too, was this whispery falsetto kind of vibe, or her upper range, you know, that really pulled through the richness of the EP playing, the electric piano playing. I liked when they kind of came in a little more with the string arrangements and stuff. Those were just kind of very nice, super casual arrangements in the back that just gave it a little bit more soul, a little more pulling, if you would, you know, for the heaviness of the track. She stayed in that nice, beautiful pocket in the tone of her voice. And then, of course, the guitar came in with a little bit of the rusty wah-wah kind of parts of the arrangement. But through and through, it was just a beautiful track. And I actually kind of really did like the tone quality of it. You know, coming in like I don't know, in my mind, it's like whatever the song is really written for or written about, like driving into some old Ford pickup truck from the 50s or something and hearing it out of an AM radio. And that, to me, we've talked about this before, truly, what is a beautiful song? You know, the enhancements of great engineering and stereo imaging and all these great things that are from then to current is amazeballs. But every now and then, I'll never forget this one time when I was with my uncle and Herb Alpert, and I was in the office and they were talking about Every Breath You Take. And Herb had said something to Shelley, who was his assistant. We were all in his office over at A&M, and he said, you could have taken a mic and recorded Every Breath You Take over the phone on a microphone, and it was such a great song that it would have just blown up just the same as going into a recording studio. This is one of those experiences with this track. That's why I'm A-Bing that. You know, it doesn't matter. It's just a beautiful, great song.